Welcome back to Alternate Histories. In this episode, we're diving deep into one of the most enduring conspiracy theories of all time. Was the moon landing faked? We'll explore the claims that have persisted for decades, hear from experts who support these theories, and present evidence that raises questions about the historic Apollo 11 mission. The world watched as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin purportedly walked on the moon on July 20, 1969. However, many have raised doubts about the authenticity of this event. Was it all an elaborate hoax staged by the U.S. government during the height of the Cold War? Today, we're examining the claims that fuel this theory. One of the most compelling arguments made by skeptics of the moon landing is the infamous waving American flag. The question arises, how could a flag wave in the vacuum of space, where there is no air to allow for wind? Dr. Robert Harrison, a physicist and author of Moon Landing Hoax, The Smoking Gun, pointed out in a recent interview, the motion of the flag is entirely inconsistent with the conditions on the moon. Without an atmosphere, there's no wind to cause the flag to wave. In fact, Dr. Harrison explained that the lunar surface's lack of atmosphere would make any object, including a flag, very stable. The motion seen in the footage can only be explained by the presence of air, which should not be present on the moon. Skeptics also question how the Apollo 11 astronauts survived the Van Allen radiation belts, bands of intense radiation surrounding Earth. Space historian Roger Simmons, author of Debunking Apollo, said in an interview, "The radiation in the Van Allen belts is lethal. It's hard to believe that the astronauts could pass through these belts twice on the way to the moon and back, without suffering any harmful effects." Simmons also noted that no missions since Apollo have sent astronauts through these belts, suggesting that NASA is aware of the risks involved. Moreover, the technology and materials available in 1969 were far less advanced than today, making the safe passage through the Van Allen belts even more unlikely. The absence of stars in the moon landing photos has raised eyebrows among skeptics. Dr. Sarah Martinez, an astrophysicist who questions the moon landing, stated in a recent interview, "The moon has no atmosphere to scatter light, so the sky should be full of stars. The fact that we don't see any suggests that these images were taken in a studio on Earth." Dr. Martinez also pointed out that the astronauts didn't report seeing stars during their moonwalks, which contradicts the experience of every other astronaut who has been in space. Skeptics have also raised concerns about the shadows and lighting in the moon landing photos. Dr. Gary Mitchell, a photo analyst and critic of the moon landing, stated in an interview, "The shadows in the moon landing photos are off. Objects that are supposedly the same distance from the camera have shadows pointing in different directions. This can only happen with multiple light sources like in a studio." Dr. Mitchell also highlighted that some objects appear to be illuminated despite being in the shadow of other objects. He argued that this is impossible without an additional light source, further suggesting that the photos were staged. The infamous sea rock is another point of contention for skeptics. A moon rock in a photo appears to have a sea marked on it, as if it were a prop. Geologist and moon landing skeptic Dr. Jane Patel said in an interview, "It looks like a prop that was accidentally marked and then placed in the scene. This sort of oversight suggests that the entire event was staged." Dr. Patel also pointed out that there is no logical explanation for a naturally occurring rock on the moon to have such a marking. She argued that this is clear evidence of human intervention and manipulation of the scene. Today, we've explored several claims that raise doubts about the authenticity of the moon landing. While we cannot provide definitive answers, these points certainly cast a shadow over the events of July 20, 1969. As we continue to explore space and uncover new mysteries, it is crucial to question the information presented to us and critically evaluate the evidence. Perhaps one day we will uncover the truth behind the moon landing. Don't forget to join us on our next adventure through time. Like and subscribe to keep up to date.